Mackenzie Shirilla was 17 years old on July 31st of 2022 when she crashed her Toyota Camry into a brick building, killing her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and their friend, Davion Flanagan. She was ultimately convicted of intentionally causing this crash and the loss of life. So in days after the crash, she was hounding Dominic's mother about getting in Dom's house. She was dressing up as a corpse that Halloween right after the crash. It's very disturbing. What you're going to see next is an interview. It's audio of investigators speaking with Christine Russo, the mother of Dominic Russo. So I'm going to just let that interview play next, and you can leave your comments. I love reading your comments and seeing what you're thinking. And every night we're doing the texts between Dominic and Mackenzie live, so stop by and see us for that. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications so you're notified every time we put up a new video, go live. We have a lot of discovery on this case, a lot of things we're going to be going in depth with. Thank you so much.
Recording.
So we have, I don't know when was the last time you talked to Tim, the prosecutor? It's been a while. Okay. So right now we have served a total of 11 search warrants. We have received almost returns on half of them. Not everything. The tox screen, we haven't received that yet, but we did get some information on the car. And the car is normal. There were no defects. We had a forensic mechanic look it over. There were no issues whatsoever with that. Also, medically, pursuant to 2 search warrants, there is nothing to indicate that Mackenzie at the time of the crash or immediately before the crash had any type of medical condition that would have caused the crash. So at this point, we're waiting for the tox screen to look at whether it's OVI related or something else. Now, when you and I talked before in the first time, you indicated that you thought this wasn't just an OVI, that there was something else.
She told me just the other day that they weren't fucked up. I asked her, why didn't you ask me to come get you? And she said, we weren't fucked up or anything, quote unquote. I don't have it in writing. I only have it orally said to me at the cemetery. So that's what she said.
Do you still believe that theory that there was something more sinister than, any type of impairment involved?
The only thing that to me, I don't know if there's a lot of rumors. I think a lot of people are lying about things. My understanding from one of the kids, that the dad that you talked to that stated that she was sleeping and all that and all, I don't even know if that dad was there.
He wasn't. The dad was in New York.
So so I don't know how he could state that, but
he's getting that from his son's statement.
Right.
Okay.
And the son, the kid came here, in fact, in this exact room with the parents, and the kid said he went to sleep.
Okay.
But
no, I thought they said Kenzie was sleeping.
Yeah, the kid said he went to sleep at 1. He woke up around 3 to use the bathroom, and she was asleep while everybody else was watching South Park. And so, unfortunately, that we haven't been able to corroborate because everybody who was at the party is very uncooperative and they practically lawyered up and refusing to talk. The only kid who voluntarily talked to us from Dominic and Mackenzie's friends was Blair. And Blair spoke to me in the presence of his lawyer, and he wasn't very forthcoming. And I kind of put that in my report. I told him, Miss Russo said you're one of Dominic's best friends.
Well, he said that you sat there and thought that they were going to all commit suicide together. That's ridiculous.
No, we did not say that. That's not what we said. We asked him if he knew. I was inquiring whether he had any information that, Dominic might have told him, like, hey, Kenzie's crazy. She might have done this, or she might have, I'm afraid for my life with her.
You should talk to my son Angelo. I mean, that's the problem. She threatened him constantly. I told you it was 1 week before we had to pick him up on the highway when she threatened to crash the car then. Okay? It's not, I was on with Dom. She sat there and texted me. Dom was out of control. Dom was very calm. Said, Mom, you need to come get me. Kenzie's threatening to crash the car.
We did see those.
Yeah, that's one of the things we wanted to bring up was that text conversation between you and her, and then her and Dom. We got two sides of it. Did Dom tell you that he grabbed the wheel and jerked it like she alleged?
No.
Okay, so when you're on the phone with Dom, to your knowledge, he never grabbed the wheel. It was just her freaking out.
Right. They were on the side of the road, and
Okay.
she said, I'm calling the police if you don't get him. And I said, I'm on the phone saying she can call the police all she wants, but we are on our way. What are the police going to do?
Mhm.
Okay. So that was that. They were on the side of the road.
What
they
started
were not
that
driving.
fight? You don't know?
The
And I
suicide.
didn't get involved just because I always said that I don't want to have my kids not or think that I don't like her, I didn't like her, or whatever. So that they wouldn't, be able to come to me. I just said, Dom, I know you're gonna get back together. I'm not getting in the middle. I just said, no. All I kept saying was, there never should be fighting in the car. That's all I said. You don't
Right.
fight in the
I-
car.
right.
Okay. And I didn't even in detail read her bullshit and her rants because I don't really give a shit what she had to say at that point.
Okay. So just to clarify, me looking into the possibility that there was a potentially suicide involved on her behalf, not just recklessness, is based on the presumption that there was something more sinister than an OVI. And I kind of got that from you. I consider you to be more reliable than the average, given your profession and the fact that you kind of are experienced within the legal system. So when you tell me, hey, this is not just an OVI, I'm going to give it some more thought. And so I was hoping that some of the friends would say, hey, yeah, you know what? Dom did in private text me, that, hey, she's crazy, she tried to do this, and maybe Blair just doesn't want to talk.
Dom's not a real, you have to understand, he doesn't do a lot of social media, he doesn't do a lot of texting, even him and I, it's more on the phone where you pick up the phone and talk. So he would not be texting friends that. I do know, which again would be hearsay, that Blair said that she has driven crazy before. He never liked her driving. I asked him if you had gotten into that.
I asked and he
Maybe
said
he
once.
misunderstood. Well, I don't know that. Dom drove a lot. Dom was a very safe, slow driver. I mean, so, not that he hasn't gotten a speeding ticket here and there on the highway. I'm not saying that. But after my surgery, it was a lot easier for me to drive with him than my other son, just because I was in so much pain, and he was just really more like an old man driving
Cautious.
than, Angelo. So, and not anything against Ange, but that's just, he's more jerky of a driver,
fair enough.
than Dom was. It could be the vehicle too, but.
When I asked those questions to Blair, first of all, Blair was very off. Clearly, his mom with the attorney were, we had the interview at the attorney's house, which is a bit unusual. But I asked him if he was a passenger ever with Mackenzie driving. He said once. I'm like, I kind of found that hard to believe, that you've only driven once. And I asked him if he had any concerns about his safety, because again, other people have said, or through the rumor mill, we got the whole idea that she's a reckless driver. Some kids didn't feel safe with her, including her best friend Rosie, who her dad wouldn't let us, talk to her. She wouldn't talk to us. Landon Turner wouldn't talk to us. All these people who were at the party that night, with the exception of Paul Burlinghouse, nobody else is talking. And all of them kind of either involved their parents and or lawyers. And so we're kind of, at this point, the prosecutor, I did let Tim know, and Tim took their names, and chances are they're going to be subpoenaed for a grand jury. And so, are they going to talk? Yeah, eventually they're going to talk. Maybe not to me, but they're going to have to answer some questions to Tim, and we're relaying all that
How does that
information.
work with juveniles? Are these juveniles?
No, they're 18 now.
Okay.
Yes, they're off to college. So Rosie's in OU.
It seemed like Mackenzie was one of the younger friends in that group, and she turned, like 3 days after the accident.
Right.
So I think everybody else had turned just before her.
Right. So, I'm not gonna lie to you. They're the parents are also, some of the parents don't want to get in the middle of this, but I think these kids who are at the Burling house that night have important information to tell us.
Yeah, none of them are, and you have to realize Dom and Davion went because of Kenzie.
Right.
I mean, Davion might have known the people because he just graduated, but
We know Kenzie and Rosie planned that night because
Right.
Rosie and Burlinghouse are like best friends.
Okay.
So they were
So I
there
mean,
on behalf of
right.
Mackenzie.
So I mean, he
Dom
wouldn't
was
be
tagging
friends
along.
with- right? Yeah, exactly.
And Dom was tagging along. So we are, we did ask those questions, and again, nobody's willing to talk. It's all hearsay. Hey, so and so says, Kenzie is a bad driver. We never want to be in the car with her. But
A couple people told
nobody
us that, but
came up and said 1, 2, 3. We had 4 or 5 people who came in voluntarily, gave statements, and they were good statements. But the people we wanted to talk to, they kind of put up those roadblocks. So I noticed that there were some text exchanges between you and Mackenzie, and a lot of times, at some point there was some "I love you" exchanges. So maybe she felt comfortable. But can you tell me what the relationship was like between Dom and Kenzie?
Well, Dom was kind of more private with me regarding their arguments, but my son Angelo said that she would threaten him all the time.
how old is Angela now?
23 or 24.
Okay. And Chris is 26?
6, yeah. And how this all came up, so the background. I didn't like. And he would say that all Dom's problems were because of her and him being upset. And you know what I mean? And I just
That made it easier to like her because you didn't
and she
feel
was
like
always
she was
right, and she came over for holidays, and they'd include me and things like that, and I just figured maybe she just needs to grow up. She's young. I mean, do you know what I'm saying? You don't think that it's gonna come to this.
What were your vibes, your motherly instincts? What did you feel around Kenzie, especially in the presence of Dominic? Was she genuine, or
She was everything that you can tell by her. Everything's all about her. If you notice, prom pictures. Every single time we try to get a picture, she's all over my son, so I can't even get one without her in it.
Yeah.
He catered to her. She claimed she had a gluten-free problem or something, and I would make dinner, and then I would be questioned on, was the stuff okay for her diet because her stomach, and if I didn't have everything that would have complied with her stomach diet, whatever it was, I never believed it, he would cook for her separate, always. And she's a slob. she never cleaned her mother's house. My house isn't the greatest either, but I'm just saying, it's just, you know, if Dom's gonna cook for you, do the dishes, clean up after yourself. Do you know what I mean? That sort of a thing. But everything was always about her. I mean, like I said, even with her parents. I want you to know that her aunt works for Doug Brill Mill. I have to ask David. I'm not sure exactly what the lawyer's name is. It's a Lorain County lawyer, but she's the one that set up the GoFundMe.
She
Yeah,
works
we're aware
with
of
them.
that.
Okay.
Yes, so while Kenzie was in the hospital, they were already making up stories.
Right.
Okay, as to what happened. But the deer, the epilepsy, the seizure, down to a bunch of other stuff. I had not breathed a word about the mushroom story, not a word to anybody. But I had already heard, oh, well, those had to be Dom's because she was a juvenile and she was holding his drugs because she was a juvenile. If anybody knows Dom would take a hit before he would put somebody else in harm's way.
Right.
So this is all that's been fabricated. Per Tim's request, and I mean, I feel bad. Known the girl forever. I mean, I can't imagine what she's feeling like. Whether she did it on purpose, as she claims, she knows nothing. She remembers nothing, and she did say.
You've kept in contact with her since?
Yes, she did say something that was pretty damning the other day.
Have you seen her in person or just over
I've just seen her twice at the cemetery.
twice at the same time? How does she
Yeah.
get there? Can she drive?
Her
How is
mother takes her in the,
is she in a wheelchair still?
yeah, she
Okay.
can only put weight on her left leg,
Okay.
and then she's supposed to start some physical therapy.
Okay.
And then I've also kept in touch because she's dangling photos, she's dangling videos, and, you know, like where she just pieces one or two out instead of saying, I think you'd enjoyed it. Like we were at the cemetery and we had this bee problem between the two of us. I still have the bee problem. The bee people are coming today. But Dom had called me about the bees, and I don't know what she was recording, but it's all his voice, at least because it has his voice. And so she finally sends me that one. But it's like, you know, she's just
Playing on your emotions.
yeah.
So where was she living the last few months?
Oh, that was it. That was it. That was the whole conversation. Can find it. So she had been begging me to come over to the house because, you know, we live between the two houses because with Christopher's mental illness, Dom couldn't.
What did you say about Chris?
Christopher's this mental illness.
What's he gonna have going on?
He has he's been in and out of Oakview. He's
Okay.
got like he imagines stuff like he called the police the one day claiming Don had threatened him, and we're all sitting there and the
Okay.
police are like,
And I don't want to get away
Get off
from
track.
what you were talking about, but I
But
did see. I want to touch on. There was some text about Dom and Chris having a rough relationship.
yeah, that's why Dom started sleeping a lot next door, even
Okay.
though he still maintained his room and lived with me, but because of that, like I said, Chris called the police on him several times. I'm sure you've got a record of it, claiming this and that. Now,
Okay.
the one day I was in the hospital, Dom was just outside, wanted to get back in to eat breakfast in the house. I have a broken window still from it. Christopher had locked him out and called the police and said Dom was outside threatening, which wasn't true. Then I'm there, I'm out of the hospital now. Chris calls again and says Dom threatened him. I'm sitting right there, and I'm like, whatever. Cops come, 4 deep or whatever. They talk to Chris. They eventually take him to Oakview because they had realized that he wasn't processing what was really happening.
Is he on meds?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's get back to Kenzie.
So why I'm saying all
Yeah.
this was because she's begging me to go over there into that house where he had set up his business and his studio and the things that he was doing, whatever with his job. And I said I'm not touching that stuff. I don't know why she wants to, but then she wanted to take some of his clothes, and then I found out she had a bag of his clothes at her house, and then she says to me, well, I don't understand, you know, why I couldn't go in there where I've been staying for the last 4 months or something, which gave you the living on the own thing, okay? Now, mind you, mother, I check and see when the car comes home. I check and see what's there.
And we
The
see
night
that,
of the incidents, I had assumed he was home, his car was there. They rarely would take Kenzie's car. Now, they did take it to Florida because she has the better gas mileage or whatever. The two of them went together with the mother, with her mom.
Hold on, so when they drove to Florida, her mom was with them?
Yeah, they traveled together. Yeah, in 2 separate cars though.
Yeah.
So they had 2 vehicles, so the mom could take the daughter and do different things.
Gotcha.
At Universal, but they piggybacked together.
Gotcha.
So, because I was nervous about that, I said, oh, geez, you know what I mean? They had planned this. I just got out of the hospital. This was like right around Easter. But then my ex and Angela went, so they met them down there too. So I had a little bit sense okay and kept in touch, and then they came home. But she says that I've been I've been staying there or living there for the last so many months. I have it in a text message since I don't know if your subpoena keeps going through
And
to back up after that.
gotcha. So you can confirm that she has stayed, even as a juvenile at the time, she has been staying outside her parents'
And the
house.
point of all of that is the fact that the mom never said, are the kids home? She never checked in with me ever. The only time they would ever come over would be once in a blue moon to drop something off or to take pictures for some event. Do you know what I'm saying? But Kenzie, Dom took her to Polaris. Dom made sure she made it to school. Mom didn't do any of that, okay? So it was all Dom, other than her, obviously, if she could walk to the high school.
How long they've been together?
They said 4 years. I don't, I didn't know that it was quite that long, but that's what he said, and that's what he told Angelo, that he didn't want to, he felt that it had been 4 years.
When
of
did
his
you notice
life.
her coming around? Give or take.
Oh, it's been a few years.
It's
Oh,
been
for
a
sure.
few
Yeah, it
years?
didn't just
Okay.
happen. But
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't know. Like maybe when they first started dating, they were really young then. Dom wasn't probably driving even. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I probably didn't see much of her.
Dom ever talk about her driving or her, ever, mention anything to you about, I don't feel safe getting in a car with this girl or anything of that sort?
Like I said, he has stated that she's crazy, that he was concerned about her driving, and clearly that was mentioned before, and I don't know exact language because I didn't remember that I would have to remember, was the day on the highway the week before, which was I'll never, and you said, how do you remember? Well, I know, I had testing the next day, I was sick, it was raining, I remember everything about it because I had to go to the hospital the next morning. So nobody could say, oh, you just don't remember that day. No, I do. I remember it clear as a bell.
And there's
And then she sent her dad over to get her purse out of the house and blah, blah. And it was, I just said, it's just straight to the dad, this is just stupid.
Did they fight a lot?
According to my son, Angelo, yes, they were fighting quite a bit.
Would you mind us talking to Angelo?
Would he be willing to talk?
Actually, if you didn't make it, he's sort of lately been having a tough time getting up in the morning. Just, I think it started, he was really strong for me through all of this. But if you could make it a little bit later in the day,
we could.
bring it
Absolutely.
up.
We're still going through her phone. So the search warrant we got through her phone, there's 80 gigabytes of data.
Her and
Between
Dom had
31,000 text messages or exchanges, which is, that's an astronomical
That's
number.
ridiculous.
That's why it's taking us forever to get to these interviews.
Yeah, she's more of a texter than Dom is.
Right.
Like I said, me and Dom rarely text. I might say I love you or whatever, but he would, he usually would call. And that was more his style, than.
One thing that came up with when I talked to Blair was the goodbye messages and the phone call from Dom the wee hours of the morning of the crash. He said Dom FaceTimed with him or called, but Blair was asleep, so he missed the call. And he's pretty torn over this because he's like, I wish I was awake to know what he wanted, because that's that mystery that he'll never know. And so he said, according to him, that Dom sent like "I love you" type messages to family members.
No, I
And to
think
friends.
that, I don't know about that. The only thing I do know is he texted his dad, "Love you, Dad," or whatever.
Is that unusual?
No, I don't think that it was anything unusual for him. I don't know. Him and his dad have had a rocky relationship their whole life. Do you know what I mean? So who knows? Maybe the kid had a freaking premonition and felt guilty because they did. Don was young when I got divorced, and you know, his dad made it some of the visitation difficult for them, and with him being young, it was
Harder on him than the other two.
Have you been able to talk to his dad since the crash?
I
Okay.
tried
He called me last week. I don't know if he told you that.
me he was going to call you.
He wanted to know the status, why we're still investigating, why this is not on,
Well, yeah, and I don't trust him, and we've told him we don't trust him because he sat there and he's doing some voodoo. I called him hysterical.
Right.
The night that it happened, I was in tears. I just didn't want to forget what had happened. I was so upset. And they claim that, that Dom from Beyond has told them through this, like a Ouija board thing, that it wasn't, the accident wasn't Kenzie's fault. Well, how could it not be? When Kusne tells me that the 360, which I don't understand, I'm not technological savvy, okay, that she's driving fine and then accelerates at one point to this point and doesn't stop.
So you talked to Husni?
Well, he called, after Davion's funeral, Husni introduced me to the parents of the wake, and then I had snuck, I couldn't deal with anybody, so I went late to the church, but I felt I wanted to pay the kid respect. And I left before they did their procession, so I just to be there for the mass, and he had called complaining about talking shit, basically, about things that he was disappointed in, and not facetious. I would want the mom or the parents to know, but him and I had a few criticisms about the way that the funeral was handled and them being gone and things like that. I don't know if he just used me as a sounding board, because he was very close with them, but he just started with blah blah blah, and then he went on to say, "You better not let this go. That I know that this is, she did this on, basically, I don't want to replace the kids' words.
And it's okay, because, we talked to Husni.
Him and Tyler Croy.
Yeah, and then he was just very angry and just said that, you better not let that. I said, I'm not going to let this go. I said, it's in the police. I said, well, even if I said, oh, it's fine. I said, it's still a crime.
Right.
So I got 2 dead kids.
Right.
So, but so he just vented for a little bit, and I hadn't talked to him, much after that, but, and I did hear a little bit, like, from some of the other kids that, he maybe exaggerates a little bit, the way, he doesn't know everything, like he claims he knows, blah, 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 but don't get wrapped up in what the kid tells you, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought it was odd, too, that he would call and, criticize about the funeral, right? And the things, and then that coming back, and the neighbor being all pissed off.
So, are there any rumors that you would want us to confirm or dispel for you? Anything? Because
I told you the big
try
thing
to.
was that mushroom thing, okay? Which
The mushroom was found on her person.
But I know that.
It's on body camera.
I have not said a word. I was told that. Nothing you guys have said has left my brain. Okay.
The mushrooms were tested. They came back. It's an F2 given the quantity. It was above the bulk amount. It was on her person.
Much, huh?
Yes.
See, because I asked him, I've been in a mushroom case in freaking years.
They're really, listen, I've spent the last 4 years in the DEA task force. This is the second time in 4 years I've seen mushrooms.
It's a large quantity, and the medics were the ones who searched her when they strapped her to the gurney before the life flight. It was even Berea. It wasn't even Strongsville. So it's all on the body cam. The officer The medic reaches in, grabs it, gives it to the officer. So I mean, there's no, you're not able to pin it on Dom.
But I'm telling you, that was the big thing, and I was like, well, that's not his character.
Right,
And
no.
why in the hell, if they're driving home sober at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever time it was, would that be there? Like, I still don't know whose backpack's in the car. I don't know what happened to his necklace.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't even know. I know I called you guys one night hysterical. I don't know who I talked to, but I just didn't know what happened to his clothes. I didn't know.
So we the car is in our possession. It's secured in one of our bays because it's evidence at this point. Everything else that we were able to collect from the car, that we were able to get, is in property. Everything. The only things that I released were, the necklace that I found now, a couple of things, and everything was with the prosecutor's approval. I wasn't going to release.
Well, I don't know. Tim wasn't thrilled. He wanted you to just keep her phone. He goes, but we can't keep her phone forever. But
right.
I said, well, how can you? I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, and that was a good move on Zaki's part. He made a good deal because
we had to make a deal with the devil. And you're a defense lawyer. You're an excellent lawyer. You know how this goes. At this point, we served a search warrant. That seizure of the phone becomes unreasonable. What am I holding on to the phone for? We gave her the phone back in exchange for the code. Had we not gotten that code, that phone possibly could have had to go to Israel, to the lab, to Cellbrite, to crack into it. Again, or the feds or something. It would have been very difficult. Apple doesn't make things easy for police to get into. That's
I
one.
know. I have an old phone that I can't get into either.
Number two,
the code.
as you might already know, I wanted to give her a rope and let that go on the record. I wanted to give her the phone back, see what she's going to do with it. And she did. I mean, she was making modeling, talking to this modeling company from the hospital about her future plans with no regard to the fact that she took 2 innocent lives, or at least contributed to the loss of life. So it was a strategic decision that I made that I will.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying anything.
And I know,
just wanted to make a joke about it.
No, and again, Tim and I talked, and I said, listen, sometimes you kind of have to, her mom called over 10, 15 times here wanting the phone back. And so once we served the search warrant and we had the,
you needed had what you needed. Right?
we got all that.
I gotcha.
So that takes me to the next, to the Dom's phone. I know you asked Jason for Dom's phone. I do have Dom's phone, and what I was gonna say is, a lot of the friends were not cooperative with us. And I'm wondering if there is anything on Dom's phone. We looked through Davion's phone. We asked the parents. And granted, the parents had no standing in his case, but I know with Dom's phone, it's registered to your law firm, so you do have standing. Whether or not you would consent to letting us look.
Yeah, I just can't. And I can't because I have so many confidential communications, even with my son about other people that he would call me or, and talk about, but he's not friends with any of those people.
And we, all we got from at least Blair and from talking to him is that there were those phone calls, or at least attempts to make calls, the morning of the crash. So in particular, we're not looking to
I can
tarnish.
I can go on my Verizon and print off his call log. I have absolutely no problem doing that.
I am interested.
Can you get text messages through my Verizon?
I will find out.
From the night of the 30th.
I know, like in Medina, because they're always really more so than Cuyahoga, just they're freaks about phones and all that stuff. And we will get printouts. They're harder to go through because it's not the bubbles like we like to see on the thing, but it'll show the number and it'll show the statement.
Sure.
So, but that's the only thing. Is like I got kids right now. The cases are going on. I can't. That are his friends. Yeah.
My main concern is, like I said, we're not looking to, tarnish his name.
I don't think the kid didn't do anything.
Right.
I mean, I don't.
All we want to know is those calls were.
Else that went through.
Did he vent that night to somebody? Maybe did he take a picture of her sleeping at the house? Did he, anything? that
Well, I
would
think
shed some light on what happened.
I don't know that I could do anything with it, and I'll frankly tell you why the phone's so important. Dom, not only did we have, he started that business, he had his college fund that he was using money to make multiple investments, and I've asked, which I don't do a whole lot of probate, but Loretta, my lawyer, I said, how am I gonna, like some of them will say, take a text message to verify your identity. So anything, like he has a laptop, but his cryptocurrency, all that shit's gonna be on there. I don't know, because you said it was smashed. I don't know if I wanna go to Verizon and say, hey, can we at least transfer it? So I could try to find out where it's right now. Even my son said, we could be getting killed in the stock market, that we don't even have his stocks. We did put one in my name that we did together because he was too young for them to establish it, but the rest of the accounts he established.
Okay.
I mean, I know where he banks at, that's not an issue, but I don't know about these stock accounts. And because this freaking paperless shit, nothing comes to the house. I get the bank statement to the house, but I was with him and told the bank, just do a paper copy. Because everything's with this wireless shit, I have nothing to even go on.
Yeah. What kind of business was Dom running?
He did, we're making music. He set up a studio, and then people would come and pay him, and he would help them
in
with
the house
studio
next door.
time.
Sound and
That's where he conducted, and he made his own songs, and that was how he was making his money. Plus, like I said, I didn't hand over all his money, just so you know. I mean, he would say, give me 10 grand, I'm gonna put it in this stock, or so I would order the checks out of it. It was a uniform gift to minors up to 21. So but I don't know, like I said, even the one that me and him had together, I think is going, I don't get statements on that either. So even Angela says I could be trading the stock or buying and selling, we can't do nothing.
Okay.
And that only mine.
Yeah.
It's in my name. He could have with my permission. I can't do nothing with Dom's. I just got to turn it over to Loretta to see if we can get that money back.
I will contact him once we're done here. Let him know, because, like I said, since the Mackenzie's phone, I run everything by him. Hey, you good with us releasing?
No, that's fine. I mean, I don't know.
We haven't looked into it though.
I don't know if it's even possible. I don't know. If that's the case, then the only thing I can hope is Verizon tells me you can pull it from the cloud. Do you see what I'm saying? Because a lot of stuff, so I may be able to do that. I know I can definitely get all the call logs.
That's,
I get it now.
the calls
and then
the
I can
texts
go
were
from
on.
there.
Right, and that's, like I said,
Like I said, he's more of a caller than a texter, and that was just, and I think the only reason he texted his dad late was because it was late.
Okay. Like I said, based on that conversation with Blair, it just seemed, even by his own admission, it's just unusual. And, calling Blair late at night, like maybe he did have a feeling, or
I did.
maybe there was something.
I made the comment the week before. We all went to dinner with my mom. And I said, why didn't we take a picture? And Ange goes, yeah, we didn't take a picture of all of us at dinner. I said, yeah, that picture will never happen again. Not thinking my son, but you know what I'm saying? That definitely was what the Lord was putting in my brain. I was thinking my mom or my stepdad would have passed. Do you know what I mean? He just turned 80. You know what I'm saying? Not the opposite. So I don't know that but I was clueless, obviously.
If this goes to trial, as you might expect, through discovery, that her defense lawyer, Jim McDowell.
Oh, that's what she hired?
Yeah.
McDowell?
McDonald or McDowell.
Now, so it's changed a couple times, but I think
She had Brad Koff from Columbus who referred her to Stephen McGowan, and all of a sudden Jim.
Steve McGowan. I love Steve McGowan. He's
been around forever.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He won't work the case. It's kind of like Stu Libby. They don't watch videos. They don't listen to recordings.
No, it's too much for him.
Yeah, exactly.
So
which is just it's terrible.
Jim is now representing her. So all these texts.
So I'm wondering if the aunt, because I think it was Doug Will, some lawyer from Lorena was just I was told that, and so maybe he just couldn't do it. Maybe he's
I
not.
don't.
Yeah.
I do not know, but there were some text exchanges between you and Mackenzie where she talks about Dom's mental health, and I know this is something that potentially could come up. So I just have to ask. Dom suffered from depression. No, any mental issues that they
No, and in fact, when they were, my ex family was going to try to kill Christopher at the house, and Dom intervened, got charged, which he shouldn't have because he was a victim. They came with guns and everything strapped to kill Christopher. We had to take a mental health exam for the court, and that was turned into Berea Court. I do have a copy of it. He had to take a mental health and drug exam, and I don't remember what the mental health part of it, but I remember the drugs and reading, because the drug and alcohol thing, that he had tried it. He had reported that he had tried alcohol a couple times at some parties. Now, mind you, this was done a year ago. Okay,
Right.
It wasn't done yesterday. Okay,
Right.
and then the only other issue was he had the medical marijuana card, and they did not find that was a drug issue because he was using
He
it.
did have a medical marijuana card. Did he? What did he get that for?
Well, he had an injury in basketball for his ankle. And again, I wasn't with the doctor that prescribed it, but he experienced a lot of pain. We were seeing an ankle specialist over at Southwest. Then he wanted him to go for MRIs. What the insurance said he's too young or something stupid. I don't know. But he had an ankle. He always wore an ankle brace quite a bit. And I have a lot of tendon issues. I had a lot of braces that I was giving him. So he experienced from basketball a lot of pain at the ankle and stuff that helped with.
In December 2020, December 28, Mackenzie texted you saying Dom is saying he wants to hurt himself. And she goes on to say, come over and help. And then you reply by saying he's all right, and in a brat mode, hit his head on the wall.
What did I say?
You said
In a brat
he's
mode?
all right, and in brat mode, hit his head on the wall. I don't know if you remember that.
Basically, he was just angry
He was
because he
just-
hit his head, but there was a couple times
Oh
that
no,
Mackenzie...
he was angry because he hit his head. I
Okay.
remember
Okay.
that.
And
Yeah,
so
he hit his head,
nothing-
so he got mad.
So no indication that he wanted to hurt himself.
No.
Okay.
No, I'd have to ask Angelo, but I think any death threats usually came from her.
Okay.
Or, I'll kill myself if you break up with me, or I'm gonna do this if you break up with me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In January 2021, Kenzie texted you saying about herself, I was feeling all weird and having she meant lot, of anxiety from withdrawal. Do you know what she's withdrawing from? Did you know she has a drug dependence issue?
Oh.
This was sent to you, to your phone.
I was feeling all weird.
Do you know what she's talking
I
about?
just wanted to leave. My friend was begging him to give me, and he didn't give me. The only thing I can think, withdrawal, but that would be a withdrawal symptom. God, I'd really have to go back and read them all. At one point with the stomach thing, okay, they had thought she had some, I don't know the name of the disease, something that had to do with marijuana, but marijuana doesn't cause withdrawal symptoms. But she was supposedly couldn't smoke marijuana because they were thinking that was part of this issue. It's some condition that you develop from smoking marijuana. Don't ask me. I don't know.
Okay.
Unless it's stated in that.
Did you know her to smoke marijuana?
I never seen her do it, but now that she admitted to me at the cemetery that she hasn't smoked since she got out of the hospital, and I had known about the condition. She wasn't smoking, but I'm sure she was back smoking again because she just brought it up to me.
Yeah.
Not like she sat there and smoked in front of me or anything,
Right.
you know.
But to just bring it up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't. But well, that's because when she was getting sick with the stomach thing, this is how a lot of this started, was with her stomach. But it was, I know that she had to. One of the things was, and I don't know what the condition is. I might be able to ask Angelo. But it was something where they said that the doctor told her she couldn't smoke marijuana anymore, and then that didn't. I don't know if that really turned out. I think that whole issue ended too with that, which eventually led to the stupid gluten-free thing.
Okay.
That was going on. But I mean, why would she? Maybe withdrawal. I mean, you don't withdraw from marijuana.
Okay.
I don't think that she used any other drugs. I don't. I was kind of shocked about the whole mushroom thing. I mean, like I said, they don't smoke pot, but who cares? Do you know what I'm saying? Most of these kids got med cards for different reasons. Do you know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
I don't know that. I highly doubt it. That would be a term that you'd use for like heroin or something.
Right.
But maybe in her mind, she was withdrawing.
And that's
from
why it caught our
marijuana.
Right.
attention,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
not something you normally see
No.
with
Right.
pot.
Yeah.
And so the last one, that's the one text that kind of stood out from the week before the crash on July 17th, where she texted you saying to come get Dom. He grabbed the steering wheel on the highway, trying to spin out my car and hurt me, and she kind of played it off to where
No, she totally, that's what she always did. Everything was always Dom's fault. She
I'm
always
scared
twisted it around.
because of driving in the rain. If he doesn't get out of my car, I'm calling my dad. And then you said Hench is on the way. Who's Hench?
That's Christopher Martin, that's his nickname. He's the fellow that went and picked up Dom.
Okay. And did Chris say anything about what transpired? Did he tell you like, Christine, when I
No,
picked him
that
up?
day he called me and said that, Mom, you, and in this calm of a voice. I mean, like I said, we talk more than we text. Mom, you need to come get me. Kenzie's being crazy. She's threatening to crash the car on the highway. Okay, are you pulled over? Yes. Where at on the highway? Okay, I'm laying on the couch. Which I was glad because I had Christopher, not my son Christopher, Hench, on his way
Mm-hmm.
to get him while I stayed on the phone with Dom till I knew that he was there and she didn't do anything. And then after, that's when she just started ranting. I didn't pay attention to her.
Mhm.
Ranting and started blaming him for everything. It's like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I said, I don't really care. Just don't fight in the car. And it seems that she did that because he had like little tiny stupid fender bender things with her in the car. Just like nothing, no damage, anything. But, Kenzie had me hit the mailbox because she was fighting with him in the car. And Ange again could probably tell you more details, but I don't know if she grabbed the steering wheel. I mean, it was my own mailbox. It wasn't a crime. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But there has been, since she started driving, more of the issue of her. But again, everything's always Dom's fault.
Right.
Right.
We can kind of see it from the text where there's a
Yeah,
lot of
she
that
just-
blame,
exactly.
shifting blame.
Yep.
So, did you know where they were going that morning? Did you have any idea? Did Dom say anything the night before, like, hey, we're going to be at this party and then we're going there?
Yeah.
Where were they
I
going?
was making, he said that they had a couple of graduation parties to go to. And I had said that, that I was making some dip and some other things or whatever. And Blair had come over and I said, okay, this stuff's getting done or whatever. And his impression was, I know he texted me, all right, at one point I had talked to them. He didn't think they were going to be gone. Then I texted him and had said, something like, this dip's done or whatever. And he said, okay, well, we shouldn't be long or we'll be back in a little bit or whatever. And then that was it. Blair said that Dom really didn't want to go to these parties. That's what I was told, that he did it for Kenzie. Wasn't friends with the people, wasn't thrilled about going.
We know the first party they went to was in Parma. It wasn't even a Strongsville
I heard
student.
that there was no parents at a Lakewood house too. That was another party. Did Tusney tell you about that? This is where I'm getting a lot of my information.
And based on what we were able to track back to almost 8 p.m. and there was no indication they were in Lakewood. They were in Parma Heights area. We even have the LPR because we ran the license plate for the Toyota and saw what time they were going where. So we knew they went to Parma, and after that, they ended up on Brushwood, and that's where they spent the
That's Burling
6-7 hours.
And that's the one that's behind Whitney, by the way.
Yes. Brushwood has two entrances.
Not
They
really.
don't connect, but they were off of Whitney.
Okay.
we kind of know that for a fact, and they left there about 5:30.
Yeah, he just, again, and again, everybody's told me don't live and die by what Houston has to say, because he doesn't know everything, but he had thought that there was, he was the one that alerted me that there weren't parents supervising these parties.
I think a lot of what's going on with him is grief. So now, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because I talked to him and Dom were pretty close. So I think a lot of him, I don't want to say conspiracy theory, but his digging and his own investigating, I think he's getting some of this information. So yeah, don't put too much into, because between the grief and the anger at Mackenzie and him doing his own digging and talking to people and that, I think people are steering him in some.
And what's weird too is I had heard, and I probably from Houston, I don't want to just say it's put it all on this kid, but before I had heard the mushroom story, I had heard that all these people at this party were like tripping or whatever, but I didn't hear it on mushrooms. When I think of tripping, I think of acid. I don't know if that still goes around these days like it used to in the 70s or 80s, whenever it was. But I haven't been in an acid case in a long time either. So,
yeah, it's coming on the weird
but
part.
Like I said, none of them were big drinkers. I didn't really see them ever fuck
We know.
You know what I mean? It just none of the three of them even. Now, did I ever go to a party with Kenzie? No, I never did. But I've seen her quite a bit. I've never seen her screwed up on anything. I've never seen my son screwed up on anything. Davion I didn't know very long, but he was kind of the same way. I mean, like I said, they were always doing something. If they're not making music, they were working on the car. They were, you know what I mean? It wasn't.
Did they ever fight or argue in front of you? Mackenzie and Dom?
No, of course not.
No,
because then I could be a witness to what she's claiming.
So Angelo would probably be able to.
Because then Dom would vent more.
Were Angelo and Dom close?
Yes, very close.
What's a good phone number for Angelo?
It's not terrible.
And if you don't mind, would you be kind enough to let him know that probably next week sometime we're gonna give him a call and try to set something up?
Yeah, I'll talk. All right, Angelo. And like I said, he could probably, just give you more of the gripes. I don't think that. I mean, if there was a situation where I was around, Dom would come to me and say, you know what I mean, Kenzie's doing this and Kenzie's doing that, and I mean, he just probably, more so than not, referred her as being crazy. Crazy. I mean, do you know what I'm saying? But again, she's a young girl. I wish I would have just read more into it. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I never would have dreamed in a million years. Do you know what I'm saying? That I would be having to worry about this.
Right.
Even when the police came, I said, they don't even drink, really. You know what I mean? Like, I did it. Now, like I said, and then, my concern is I don't know if or when, because of the way those talk screens come out, if or when she would have ingested anything. I still don't think, even if she was high on those mushrooms, that's would have been the case. And I just don't. I mean, from what I know, what I've read about, I mean, like I said, yes, maybe on acid, that's something more bad, but you don't really hear. I mean, people are, when you interview clients and talk to them about it and you study it, it's more of a, although I did read about it the other day too, I forgot, but more of like a happier type of a situation. It's supposed to make you more giggly or whatever. I forget the description. You know what I mean? So
what's making this a bit difficult, at least for the two of us, is just looking at the driving on Progress. Progress Drive is not a straight line, and so the medical theory. I mean, we're eliminating theories at this point. We put, what could a defense lawyer come after us for? So mechanical, medical, OVI, or other to include suicide. And I can tell you, I am substantially certain that mechanical is out.
Mm-hmm.
We had a forensic mechanic, we had the EDR report. Judge John Russo saw when he signed the search warrants, and he signed 10 out of the 11 search warrants for us. I mean, he looked into some of the data from the car. You know, something was up. And so that's...
what would the other defense be? I mean,
the other defense would be the OVI, like she was so impaired that she hadn't... But then again, if we know that Davion was awake because he sent a text at 5:30. He commented on a picture that was sent to him from a friend, and he's like, "Oh, this is cool," or something like that. So we knew he was up. No indication from him that there was something going on. And as they make the turn, you can see on video that there's like somebody had a screen up, likely Dom, that the phone was on or something.
Yeah, you could see a light.
You can
coming
see
from
the light.
car when they turned from Pearl onto Progress.
But it doesn't
Like the
explain,
screen.
and I'm sure, one day it'll come out. It doesn't explain those last 2 seconds.
I mean, you've driven down Prospect, 1,000 times? You lived in Strongsville forever. So we all know it has those two curves.
Oh, and don't let her tell you that she is unfamiliar with
Oh,
progress.
I eliminated that this morning.
Okay,
eliminated.
because I'm gonna tell you, when we went for prom pictures, the guy that was going with us, she kept telling me, "Oh, just cut through on Progress." She knew, and that was the way that I went to my office. I've not driven down that street since July.
Yeah.
She's at that memoriam all the time. How do you go to the scene where you've just killed 2 people?
She knew Progress.
We knew.
Progress, and we all know. I mean, it's bumpy from the semis. There's curves.
Yeah.
If she was impaired, if she fell asleep, you wouldn't have navigated that. It doesn't make
Not
sense.
to mention Dom and or Davion
Being awake.
moved her, yanked her, did something to, at least offset the impact of the crash.
Right.
But
If she's sitting there driving and she goes like this, someone's gonna grab that wheel. They're gonna say, "Holy shit, she passed out. She fell asleep. She something."
Your foot wouldn't stay on the gas either that fast.
Right.
right. So, and I don't want to
And it would have stopped once she hit the sign.
That's another issue we have.
But the speed at which this all happened,
She keeps telling me that she wished she would have died. She keeps saying that it should have been me. And now she wants to talk shit all then. I know it's different when people die, but she's got nothing but go on and on about how perfect and wonderful he was. And that basically saying I'm a piece of shit and he was a great person. I mean, so didn't bring up, oh, he's got mental health issues and all that other shit that she wants to.
and the only reason I asked, again, through discovery.
No, I don't care. I've got the exam. Like I said, I mean,
And you're obviously gonna get everything we have at the end of this thing. So
And believe me,
you just have
we're-
to tell me what you want from me.
We would like
The call log.
the
and
call
see-
log and text log from, I'd say, the night off. So that 10 p.m. when we knew they went to Brushwood. From 10 p.m.
And
the night of the 30th until the time of the
This is
crash.
already the end of September. I don't know. I wish you would have asked me last month, but they should at least preserve them, I think, for 90 days.
And again,
No.
to us, it's just gonna maybe, is that we can't compel people, those who don't want to cooperate, and that's what the prosecutor is going to use his state power for.
And I don't.
I'm surprised at how uncooperative kids are in this matter.
Right.
Frankly, considering
She claims she gets threatened all the time. She claims that, nobody, basically the general position in the community is that she did this on purpose. She's texted me, I wouldn't do this on purpose. It's just, and that was when I didn't ever even bring this up. She's volunteered that. She's volunteered a lot of that.
I think she's getting a lot of that from that Hoosney Croy.
there's a group of kids who are very much upset, and I know because her mom called and she kept saying they're saying mean things. Well, I can't go after everybody.
Get off
saying
social
mean-
media, lady.
Right.
I mean, the mom was in the hospital. The first thing that she said to me when I called, I was hysterical after finding out, and she says, Oh, are you calling about Facebook? If I could have punched her and chucked
The
phone.
We went there, and her biggest concern was what people are posting on the Strongsville page, and can we intervene? And that was her biggest concern when we walked in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not saying she did it on purpose, but to me, there's just the pieces are not fitting in. We know the evidence. We've seen the video. We've seen all of it. It just does not add up. And so when I inquire about the suicide theory, well, there's a reason behind it. And I think in talking to Tim...
So were you meaning that Kenzie was trying to kill herself when you talked to Blair? Because Blair made it sound like you were acting like the three of them.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That he misunderstood.
Blair was... you'll get to listen to the interview. Blair was just not all there. First of all, I don't know if he's... The way he acted, if he's normally that way... Very, very reserved, very reluctant. He kept asking for specifics. And I said, well, describe the relationship between the two. Well, what do you mean? Well, what were they like in public? Were they lovey-dovey? Did they argue? And he's like, well, give me more examples. Like he was very much coached into that interview. And his lawyer, when he said, when I noticed he wanted to say something, like he mentioned the name of a friend, Dom, one of Dom's good friends from Lakewood, Kyle something, Harper. I was like, well, can I get Kyle's information so I can give him a call? Well, his lawyer steps in, and so there was a lot. He was coached. It's obvious. I've done this long enough to know who's coached and who's genuinely trying to help the investigation.
Everyone's circling the cow. They're protecting themselves at this point.
Nobody's.
He wasn't even there.
I don't know. I don't know. I know the Shirillas have reached out to some of the kids, and including Landon Donovan, who was supposed to be, or Landon Turner, who's supposed to be Davion's best friend, and
he won't talk either.
Nope. He's in college. He's playing football, and I called him once, and we set up an interview, and boom, it's been 6 or 7 calls that are and so I told Tim, we got to talk to him. Rosie Graham, we need to talk to her. She was at the party. She, asked. She had some texts going back and forth, so they were there. The people who were at the party needed to answer some questions. Mackenzie's ex-boyfriend...
And what are they worried about? Were they doing drugs or something? They're worried about they're going to incriminate themselves using drugs?
I don't know.
Or even drinking? I guess a big deal, underage consumption. What the hell? You're not going to go to prison for it.
Right. And we're,
And it's clear that it's like Mackenzie's people are the ones closing ranks.
Right.
And Dom's friends are the ones coming in here saying this is not right. This just
Dom and
doesn't make
Davion's
sense.
friends are, with the
Davion's
exception of
too.
Blair, were fairly open.
And,
So,
Right,
to me,
so
the
they're
theory,
doing
to
something,
me,
right.
ultimately it's Tim's theory. It's not mine. My job is to collect data, the evidence, or the information, and give it to him. And
Yeah, but this Burlinghouse, what's the parents' name of this kid? Do you know?
I don't know, but they were in New York the night of the incident.
Well, the only reason is I'm wondering if it's the same Burlinghouse. There was a Burlinghouse from Middleburg, a whole family. There was a bunch of Burlinghouses. There's like Dale and Jim Burlinghouse.
I don't recall.
That family.
I can pull it up, but
Well, I'm just curious because
they've
if
lived in
there's an
Strongsville for years.
alcohol issue, it doesn't matter that the Burlinghouses have a history of huge.
I can tell you from the first
alcohol.
graduation party, there was no alcohol consumption.
Okay.
Like everybody was like, nope, all 3 of them showed up. They didn't smoke, they didn't drink, they hung out and left. So
Yeah, which like I said, I couldn't see my son. Who knows? Maybe he would, but like I said, he doesn't drink beer. Or
he
anything.
wasn't driving. So even if he
But
was,
right. But I'm just saying, I didn't even wouldn't. That was the first thing. If they want to think about how I acted when the police came with Father Joe, I just said, I'm just shocked that they're not much drinkers. Like I just assumed it was an OBI accident in the beginning. Do you know what I mean?
and this is to us. This is what Jason and I are struggling with, and I kind of. I wish I could give you a better answer, but until we look at her blood, it just doesn't look like an OVI crash to me. To me, and so I'm not trying to create a theory from nothing, But the reason I'm asking about the suicide and the mental health is because when we discussed this case with Tim, just OVI by itself doesn't fit.
Right, well, it doesn't, and I don't think that Dom and Kenzie would make some sort of suicide pact, and if they did, he wouldn't have done it with Davion in the car and killed that kid.
And I don't think Dom would have made that
They had
suicide
reservations
pact.
for her birthday, he had
Right.
steaks he had bought.
He wasn't
that
wearing a
week.
seatbelt.
There wasn't.
Right. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. But I could put your mind at ease in that Dom was, at no point did he reach over based on what our officers saw when they got there. So even if somebody tries to say, you know,
He caused this.
Dom caused it, no way.
No.
No way. I mean, we
Him
have
and
multiple
Davion were
officers with
innocent
body
in this
cams.
crash.
No way. Dom,
Right, and I just wished it. Why wouldn't Davion punch her in the head? And that was the thing. That was another thing that I had told Houston. I said, Don has never ever laid a hand on that little girl. Okay, she has. You know, he'll walk outside anything. He does not touch. Okay, and I said, I just wish he would have somebody would have punched her in the head, and I wish Davion would have. Somebody. What the hell are you doing?
And you're right, because I've gone through her phone, like I've just dove into her phone, and I've dove into her and Dom. And when they argue, she was more the antagonizer, and he was more like, oh, you're breaking up with me? Okay, cool, deuces. Like, he was definitely more laid back, and definitely more like, don't talk to me, you're mad at me, and then she'd keep going, and keep going.
You know,
And we couldn't figure out if that was the teenage girl in her, like obsessed with the older guy type deal, or if it was literally a mental issue that
her driving, you know, there's video, she records herself driving high speeds, you know, she's constantly TikToking and Snapchatting.
filming herself while driving.
Right. And
At high speeds, which is what Blair told me. That's all Blair had to tell you guys
Right.
was that he knows that she would drive fast and reckless. Okay. Again, I mean, I don't know. My son Ange thinks she's absolutely the devil. He thinks that she's.
I think
we're going to make it a point to talk to him next week in the evening someday and just kind of.
It doesn't have to be the evening. I mean, just give him a chance. 1 or 2 o'clock.
Whenever he
just as long
wants.
as
I
it's
mean,
not
would he
Thursday.
feel more comfortable here or at the house?
I'll ask him.
Okay.
I mean, if he wants me to come with him,
we'll give him a call. We are interested in the relationship, really. But I want you to know deep down why we're asking those questions is
I know,
because
because you want to put together a solid case. Because my son Angela thinks she needs to go to prison. He is absolutely positive, says that she needs to go to prison.
Well, and you know as well, probably better than we do, what we're battling here with the juvenile court versus 3 days later she's an adult.
Well,
versus...
I'd like to see who we pull because I'll file an affidavit of prejudice with the Supreme Court because I practiced in most of those courtrooms.
It's one of
I'd
Tim's
rather get
biggest.
some retired judge from Southern Ohio, you know, some Republican judge that would. Not to say, I mean, I love our Democratic judges in Cuyahoga, but they're Democratic because that's how they get elected. I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
In
Between this-
Cuyahoga,
We get the game.
you know,
We-
depending on the theory that we're able to help put together, the evidence that we're going to put together, if we can force a mandatory bind over as opposed to leaving it up to a judge, you know, that's another thing that we're looking at. So the reason we're looking at all of her social media is to show, although she was 17, she's been living like an adult, and that's why I asked you.
I would
staying
say
at the house.
absolutely, and I would say that for sure her senior year because I mean, she was at my house every day.
Did she ever have a job, do you know?
Oh, yes, I do know this, and my friend Loretta looked into this. So she worked at Pulp
Oh, okay.
at the top of the street. She worked at, I think, Taco Bell,
Wasn't it? I think she was
Dunkin'
at
Donuts.
Dunkin'. I know she was,
Okay.
yeah.
They fired her at Dunkin' Donuts.
Mhm.
Now, if you talk to her employers, Loretta went in there and got the coffee or whatever and said, oh, I never knew this girl worked here or whatever because Loretta goes there every day. She said, oh, that girl was horrible. She was nasty to customers. She was rude. She was all these things.
Okay.
And so she may have been putting on a nice facade for all of us and her innocent stuff. But I think it was Taco Bell, McDonald's or Wendy's. She's gotten fired from 4 or 5 jobs. Okay. And I know for a fact the last one, because Loretta just went there, you could talk to them, that she was horrible. It was either Pulp or Bippity Bob. I don't know. Is that Pulp still there?
Yeah.
At the top of the street?
Right.
They said that she was rude and nasty to customers too. So I know those 2 places for sure. I don't know.
Well,
she had those jobs when she was like 16.
And I know the Duncan one's right because there's some texts with her and the boss going back and forth. So that one is right on the money. I didn't know about Pulp, and we can look into some of those.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's either one of the other fast foods.
Yeah,
okay, we only got McDonald's, Wendy's, or Taco Bell. So one of those 3, but Pulp for sure. It wasn't Bippity Bob, it was Pulp. And they got rid of her too for again, customer issues. And so
Dom seemed to do pretty good by himself. Did he give her money a lot?
I don't know.
There was an argument about when he threatened her with civil court because she bought something. She bought something that Dom gave her money for, but I guess maybe she didn't have permission because it wasn't clear from the
text. Yeah.
From the text, but they kind of went back and forth.
That was after that. He said that she needs to give me the money back. And I don't. Again, this is the end of July. I know there was something about
July
the
2020.
birthday gift, and I remember them fighting. Okay, he was on his phone trying to order her a purse or something, and he was sitting there, and he goes, "Yeah, she's just got to look at my phone. She's got to look at my phone and see everything I'm doing." He goes, "I'm just trying to order a damn birthday gift." Blah blah blah, and she had to look at it and see, and he was all pissed off because he couldn't surprise her with it. Then the night of that thing, he did bring up the fact that there was money given to her, that he wanted the money back because maybe, and it might have been had to do with not being able to order the purse. Just said, fine, well then take the money that I was going to pay for the purse or something like that. Angela maybe be able to clarify that a little bit more. Again,
was there an issue between Dom and Mackenzie's mom, Natalie? Threats or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Here she says Dom threatened. He bought me this one outfit yesterday, and now he's saying he's going to take me to civil court. And then you told her not to worry about it. He caters to you. I think he just needs something back.
That's what I asked. It seemed like he catered to her a lot.
Right.
They were always going out to eat.
What do you do? Yeah. What do you do for him?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Was my thing. Like, he waits on you hand and full. What are you doing for him? I did start that a lot lately.
Yeah, no, and you actually have a text in there that I know that said, "What have you done for him?"
Right.
It goes both ways. So you're right on the money with
we
that.
knew he was taking care of her financially too, supporting her, which just goes along to show. Is there anything you wanted to know about the investigation that maybe we can help shed some light, put your mind at ease? Anything you're curious about?
No, I guess not.
We are about a week or 2 out before I think we get the
I
talks
talked
back.
to the ME's office, and I think they said 2 more weeks, and that was a week and a half ago. So 10 to 14
as soon as we
days.
get that,
And I'm gonna tell you, I wouldn't be worried about Jimmy McDonald. Jimmy McDonald's a nice guy, hopefully. But is somebody gonna hear this?
No.
Okay, this isn't gonna be used as evidence.
No.
I don't even know last time the guy's tried a case. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you that. He's Nancy McDonald's brother. I think he would get plea deals. He's a prosecutor. He's just making his money, getting his PRS. I mean, he's not really a go-getter type.
Well, and especially in something like this, they're going to be searching for a plea deal.
That's exactly what they're going to do.
But we're
well, thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it.